Simon & Schuster AudioWorks presents Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Everybody always complains about the movie Signs.
Yeah, about the
War
water.
of the Worlds.
Yeah.
They're always like, why would the aliens invade a planet when the water makes them sick? Why would aliens invade the planet? They don't even know about the common cold is killing them. It's so stupid. Yeah, hey, newsflash, people do this shit all the time. It's called having allergies, hay fever, and still going outside.
Yeah. And COVID,
Well, yeah,
that's
COVID.
also a big thing. People
That's
are
true.
like, oh, I don't care,
That's true.
I could
I'm
die
like-
to this, but I need to go out.
And the measures we have to counteract those things don't even fucking work half the damn time.
That'd be pretty funny if
And
the
yet we
aliens
still do
from,
it. We're still
from
like,
War of
alright,
the-
I'll run it. Whatever.
That'd be pretty funny if the aliens from the War of the World just started just sneezing and then continually murdering people,
Yeah.
instead of dying from it,
They had like a runny nose. Still.
Yeah.
They were sniffling, but they were still
Tom
shooting
Cruise.
people with their death ray.
Yeah,
and
Tom
scooping 'em
Cruise
up.
is there like, they're getting sick. And then he just takes a little tissue with its little arm, dabs it on his nose, not where its nose maybe is somewhere, and then it just rips his head off, But yeah, it would have probably been less of a... Yeah, what if the War of the Worlds? Do you think there's an alternative sequel, something like that, where you just goes oh yeah, the aliens didn't die, I guess you get the Terminator then instead.
It's
right?
kind of,
It's
I guess, not really Terminator.
Because I'm just thinking about the resistance aspect of it, where people
Maybe
are
more of an
resisting
XCOM 2.
Yeah, at that time especially, yeah.
They get a big floating ship they fly around and fight the aliens in it. XCOM 2 is a good game, man.
I feel people should just take, because it's so depressing that the British Empire gets invaded, It's so depressing, in that story.
It
How
is when
about
an
we-
outside force invades England.
Yeah,
And luckily we're so filthy they die.
yeah.
Luckily we're just so disgusting without diseases.
They look at the teeth, British teeth, and they die, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Just the English accent itself, it kills them,
It's great that it's sort of supposed to be a story of what if you got invaded? Huh?
Yeah.
But it was still the only feasible way something could ever invade a nation like England, it's got to be basically super beings from space.
Yeah.
There's nothing above England that would be able to do it on our Earth, basically. So,
But then they fail anyway,
Yeah, and then they fail because luckily we have a disgusting disease that kills them.
The smog
fuck.
in London chokes them to death,
Yeah. Thank God. Ooh,
Thank
it's a good thing
God.
they didn't bring any diseases with them that would kill us very
Yeah.
quickly.
Yeah, good thing.
They were making us grow red vines or whatever, right?
Yeah, they were doing but I think there was more of it was implying that they were terraforming the world. more than anything.
Yeah, but
think
it
that-
comes from us. They use the
Yeah,
red.
I think they were growing people to eat them. That's their way of digest. Oh, it was. I don't think it was in the. I don't think any of that was in the original book, so it doesn't matter.
Suppose so. This is why we need Ash on this episode, because he's the War of the Worlds scholar. He's seen it all. He's read it all.
No, because he hasn't seen the Polish
You
War
didn't
of
watch
the
that
Worlds.
one
where
Polish one that you watched that I think was not good. I don't know. I didn't see.
It was definitely different. The Martians were little kids wearing silver makeup, and silver clothing, and there was a scene where they're in a bar, and the guy, there's just porno on the screen in the back. So I was like, this is cool, This is
Cool.
because, like, unlike the UK, where they're like, we're so terrified of getting invaded, and this has never happened. While in Poland, it's like, well, Martians are like from the red planet, and communism is red. So it's it's like
just
that.
another day in Eastern Europe for
Yeah,
us.
it's another day in Eastern Europe. And there's a scene where he like takes the little kid and like steps on him and like cracks his head, which is pretty cool. Pretty cool scene.
What's the name of this movie for the people at home if they want to watch Polish War of the Worlds?
Actually, let me see, because the
They'll never
subtitle
know.
is
Moving on. Yeah, no.
War of the World. Go on. I don't need to. I
What?
can do this. Go on. The War of the Worlds Next Century.
okay.
That's what the subtitle is for.
War of the Worlds, the next. Well, there you go. There's your update. That's what happens if they win. Is the Poland one?
Yeah. They leave in Poland. That's the end of the movies, that they just leave. They're like, this isn't worth it, and they just leave.
They're just like, fuck it. Really, for this place?
Yeah. Who wants to be in Poland? So even
the
Martians
aliens
leave.
were leaving as well on their ship, trying to make fucking like light bulb jokes.
Yeah, I know.
Those guys would
And
do-
nothing gets done here because
Yeah. That's why we're not taking it anymore. We're leaving.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah.
Maybe they should have just set. Maybe they should have set it in Canada. Like the Strugatskys did with Roadside Picnic.
Yeah, Roadside Picnic, where
Just
they were trying
fuck
to
it, Canada. Why not?
avoid censorship, like they did with the Doomed City, where they were just like, this is not St. Petersburg at all.
No.
Like, absolutely not St. Petersburg.
No, it's the experiment, brother.
It's the experiment, man.
It's the experiment.
It's in a different dimension,
There's
bro.
the big wall.
Yeah.
There's a big orb in the sky that turns on in the morning and turns off at night.
Yeah. The architects or whatever they call them. They're like
The mentors.
Mentors, that's what they were
I
called.
started rereading it recently, so
It's such
it's a
good
little more
book.
fresh. It is a good book.
I've been reading It's Easy Being a God, is that what it's called? That book? It's pretty cool too. It's from this, it's like a series. Like they have like a overall, like they have the Tower of Power, they have the Easy Being a God, and
They have a
so.
whole series of sci-fi novels that were like
connected, but separate stories.
It was like their
stories.
it was like their Star Trek. It was like a space socialist.
There were
story.
space socialists and stuff like that. Yeah, it was.
I haven't read much. I've got one of those books on my pile that I need to get to.
Highly recommended the Stugarskis.
I like Monday Starts on Saturday. That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's just like a better version of Harry Potter. If you're an adult and you want to read something that you can still kind of like connect to, but still is filled with like whimsy and wonder, It's like, what if Harry Potter was like a scientific bureau instead?
Yeah. If we actually like, it wasn't just like, what do the what do the wizards do when they need to take a shit? Oh, they just wish it away with It's like, they just use toilets, because they're people, normal people.
It's like, what if what if you kind of actually enjoyed your work? What if work was actually kind of fun?
Yeah.
So you kept doing it, and Monday started on Saturday.
Yeah.
Because your job was investigating magical shit.
Yeah.
As for a laugh.
Yeah.
Good books, goodreads.com. Hello and welcome to Dead Ensigns, #1 book podcast.
I don't know, man. I don't read enough to do a podcast about books.
101.
Yeah.
I did some reading this week. I finished off reading Dungeon Meshi, aka Delicious in Dungeon.
That doesn't count though, because there's pictures there. So
that's true.
Count.
There's pictures,
It
but I don't
doesn't
look
count.
at the pictures. I actually have a
Okay.
version that's just the dialogue and
Just the
short
dialogue.
descriptions of the image that I read.
Yeah.
I'm Ben, by the way. This is Max.
That's me.
I finished Delicious in Dungeon. The comic.
Is it done now? Like, is it done?
The
There's
comic
no
finished like a
continua-
year
okay.
ago.
Okay.
The anime adaptation started a few months ago, and I think they've did the first season the other week. I don't know. I haven't been watching.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think they confirmed a season 2, and season 2 will be the last half of the story, basically.
Okay, so I for some reason when you said adaptation, I thought it was like, oh, are they just like continuing the story sort of thing? Like they're just not finishing the story.
The comic
Yeah.
wrapped up like a year ago now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a good ending. It's a good ending to the comic. Very satisfying. I find that a lot of manga, comics sometimes have like a bit of an unsatisfying ending. Maybe it feels a little rushed or a little lackluster. You just kind of like get to the last chapter and then it's like, all right, and then everybody died. The end.
Mhm.
Not like that
Yeah.
exactly, but
Or it never
Dungeon
ends.
Meshi had a good wrap up where it felt like there was a nice decline at the end. After the big peak of the the tension and stuff. The climax of all that stuff. After that, it nice and slowly descends into like a good, satisfying ending.
Like
I'd
a wind
recommend it.
down.
I'd recommend it. Delicious in Dungeon. It's a good comic. Great recommendation. It's a good fantasy comic. It starts out a little formulaic, Every chapter is like they're going down. They meet some kind of creature. They kill it. They come up with a fun way to eat it and move on to
Yeah.
the next one. But it adds a lot of layers get added on later, and by the end, it's like it's cool. It's just a really good fantasy story, a good modern fantasy, which is hard to do because fantasy's a pretty dry genre at this point.
Yeah.
That well's pretty dry. People have reinvented it and subverted it so many times at this point that it's hard to pull it off. But Delicious in Dungeon, I'd give it a recommendation because it's a nice, solid, good fantasy story. Give it a look.
Mhm.
Give it a read or watch it. I heard the anime is pretty good, but I haven't seen it.
Yeah, and it feels like the kind of like having had a look at some of the pages and stuff of the actual manga, the way it's drawn with like the anatomy shown of like the creatures and like all of those, like I feel like that's the manga itself is like a really good vehicle for that sort of story, basically, where it becomes a bestiary on top of that sort of thing, not just a story.
A lot. The author Ryoko Kui puts a lot of thought into like not even just like the specific of the monster, but also the ecosystem that it lives in.
Yeah.
By the end of it, it's like, or not even by the end of it, like after a few chapters, you realize that like ultimately the point that the author is trying to get across is that it's like the dungeon is like an ecosystem.
Yeah.
Akin to like a forest or a desert or whatever, where it's like everything in there has its place and too much, I guess, interference or too much exploitation from people can fuck it up and make it worse for everybody and ruin everything. So it's important to.
Yeah, I don't believe that's real. I don't believe that's real. I don't think those.
Yeah,
those
I
sort
mean,
of
it gets
things
a little
happen,
preachy,
honestly.
kind of like.
I don't believe that's real.
Conservationist shit there
Like,
and there.
yeah.
Like, all right, I get it. Oh, okay, all right. Maybe I won't kill too many cows. Oh, I'm gonna clear so much forest to make so many cows because these motherfuckers don't understand.
Yeah.
And hey, maybe I waste a couple tons of beef every year.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Maybe the farts, are boiling us alive of the cattle,
Who
but
cares?
who cares?
We got enough orangutans.
Yeah, all this meat is making me. I'm gonna be the.
But you know what we don't have enough of? Palm oil.
Honestly, yeah.
Palm oil.
How am I supposed to take a bath? When I can't
Exactly.
submerge myself in a bath of palm oil.
Brother, I need crispy fried onions, and the only way they can make a big bag of those is if they cook tons of onions in palm oil at once.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, I mean, generally it's a good comic, but if you're not into all of this like eco-conscious sort of living, healthy living bullshit, I'd give it a skip.
Understanding where your food comes from, sort of thing,
Not like eating processed food, like getting into living a healthy lifestyle, all that crap, you know, you don't really need. Yeah, I'd say give it a miss. But if you're not too bothered by that stuff, the rest of it's pretty good. So I'd give it a read.
Exactly.
Similarly, after that, I started rereading Golden Kamui, which
Okay, all right.
this is like the third time I've read it, I think. Oh, hey,
Okay.
it's a good. I think you would enjoy it, man. I think you should check it out.
I don't know.
There is an anime adaptation. And I can't speak
many
to
times
its
have I
quality.
tried reading mangas and I just bounced off
Well,
quite heavily. Is that long? Does it got a lot of chapters?
It's pretty long. Yeah, it's pretty long.
Yeah, then I won't be able to make it through. I don't think. Because
There is
I've read like Chainsaw Man.
Yeah.
And I've read the first was it like the season? What's it called in like manga? It's like the volume. I don't know.
Yeah.
And then I started reading the second one where like you know
the second part, you mean?
yeah
A lot,
second part.
a lot
And I
of manga
dropped
doesn't
off.
actually do that.
Yeah.
Like that's
I
kind of
dropped
Chainsaw
off.
Man kind of does its own thing there.
Yeah, I dropped off like reading that. You know?
Yeah, I haven't read
was
the
in-
second part of Chainsaw Man for a while.
I
wanna go back
even
'cause-
read Fire Punch because it was short enough where I was able to kind of maintain my focus, and
Well,
I
let me
read it
double-check.
in a
Let me
day.
double-check
You
here.
know, like you know sort of thing
Golden
where I just focused on reading it. You know, and I don't know if I'll be able. Honestly, yeah, it's just never captured me the medium.
Golden
you know?
Kamui's 31 volumes, so it's approximately 3 times the length of Fire Punch.
I don't know. Maybe.
I don't know. It's a good like Japanese Western, man. It's cool.
I'm not gonna. I can just watch a western. Why would I?
True.
They will read
But you
anything
don't
made
get
by
to
those
see the
poses.
rich.
You know,
You don't get to see the rich environment of Hokkaido.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Place but Japan. Is that what you're saying? Is that what you're implying here?
It's less Japan than usual though. In Hokkaido.
Okay.
I think I've talked about it before, but they illustrate it in this manga. There's like a line between the rest of Japan and Hokkaido where it's like there's such like a drastic change in climate that the creatures are like different and also bigger. So like there are lots of bears in Hokkaido. There's no bears in the rest of Japan.
Bear country.
Deer are bigger. The wolves are bigger. They don't have Hokkaido wolves anymore. They got hunted to extinction.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, no, it's like a different climate. It snows really heavily, all that stuff, and it's right near Russia as well, which because the backdrop for this comic is that it takes place shortly after the Japanese-Russian War.
Russian War.
Yeah. And
Apparently
it's
it
good.
was
It's a good ass comic, man. It's a good ass
Apparently,
comic.
it was the originator of that war. The Japanese made Molotov cocktails, which was
Oh, really?
interesting. Yeah, they were using them in desperation in fighting of Russian tanks, and apparently it was super effective because the tanks would just blow up like a matchbox, basically immediately go like
Right, they just get fucking covered in burning.
Yeah, exactly.
alcohol.
You know?
So yeah.
It's just
That's
interesting, I guess.
Yeah.
So many wars that nobody really thinks about, eh?
Yeah, too many for anybody to really know.
To really know, right?
Like, I feel like one historian could only ever become the specialist of like 3 to 5 wars in their lifetime, right?
Yeah, and everybody is like, I'm gonna do World War II.
Everybody loves fucking
You
World
throw
War
a
II
fucking rock and you
and then
you
World
can
War
hit
One
it.
as well. Boo.
Yeah, and you
over
find
it.
someone that is like a specialist on that. But any of these wars, like the 100-Year War, or I don't know, probably some of the medieval period wars that was like every year they had a separate war that they were just fighting each other over. You know what? I think that's what went down. Like that's what the world is going to shit is because we haven't had a war in a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, we'll see where it goes with China. They made that big declaration about how, hey, you want Taiwan? Come and get it.
Yeah, and they put up their jukes.
Yeah,
they
the
go
U.S.
into a stance.
increased tariffs on Chinese production or whatever, or taxes. I can't remember. I'm not.
It
a
was
political
cars.
guy.
It was EVs.
Political
and
stuff is
yeah,
too
who
much
gives
for
a
me.
fuck?
Yeah.
I'll just go
So,
wherever
yeah,
they'll tell me
we'll
to
see.
go, you know?
Maybe we'll see. And luckily, I'm above conscription age and also way too unhealthy to be brought in immediately, at least.
Yeah. You'll just...
And
if it,
who knows?
it
Maybe
get-
the same for you, so we can chill on the sidelines and watch
Yeah,
it
if
for
it
a
gets
little while.
bad enough, then we'll be
Yeah.
like, they'll be
No,
like,
if it gets
come on,
bad enough, they'll
come
be
on,
like, "You gotta
come on, come in, come here.
I don't. I wonder. I'm curious to see. I feel like I could probably be like, I don't want to go. I'm gonna be honest. I just don't. If you
Yeah.
send me out there, I'm not gonna fight. Like I'm just
Yeah.
giving you fair warning here. I don't
They'll
want to
do-
do it. And then
Yeah.
like they'll put me in prison, but it's like, well, I don't know. I don't know if
They'll
maybe
put
that
a
won't be
little...
as bad.
They put an explosive collar around your neck. That's what they'll start doing,
Go out there and die or die here.
Yeah,
All right, I'll
exactly.
die here.
Or it's
Finish
like
it.
a
Give me a
collar that
break.
shocks you, tortures you if you don't go.
I think the
Something like that.
I think the government greatly overestimates my will to live. You know? Maybe there's a part of me that underestimates it as well, but I think
Yeah.
the government overestimates it
But
much
what
more
if
than I
you-
underestimate.
But what if you like go out there, and you
Yeah.
realize you're having a lot of fun?
It's actually chill.
That's what
Maybe I go out
that's
there
a
and
good
just, like,
that's a good
oh,
like
yeah,
commercial to put out there. What if like you might think this is like horrible and stuff, but what if you go out there and you just really enjoy your time?
We
out
just
there on
start
the front
changing
lines?
like in recruitment ads to just be like people in the trenches, but they're like got a barbecue, they're cooking
Yeah.
meats, drinking.
There's
some
like
beer.
they're trying to ride on like FOMO,
Yeah.
Like they're just like it's like all these people are coming back from war.
Keep
They have
the
all
good
these war
times rolling.
stories,
Yeah, don't.
And
you
I
you
don't have
wanna
any
have a
war
story?
stories. Yeah,
Dude, if you
you
don't sign up now, the next 40 years, everybody's going to be telling all the fucked up shit they saw. What are you going to
Yeah.
be? Oh,
Yo,
well, I had
imagine-
to eat less sugar because of the rations.
Imagine if we
Everybody's
if
gonna
we have
laugh at you.
like a world war,
Uh-huh.
Imagine the saturation of like war podcasts after that war is like done, just
yeah.
wave of just drowning everything else,
I mean, you want to think about that? Think about how many war TikToks we're going to see.
Ah, yeah.
See a lot of
content.
like content
uh,
from the front.
I see. It's already happened. There's
Yeah.
wars happening and stuff.
Yeah. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. There's so many TikToks both from Palestine and Israel.
Yeah, because like
On
like
the- on
you
the
don't
front.
know this, but that I seek this content out to like desensitize myself to it. I just
Okay.
blast
You're trying to
myself
make it
with it.
easier when you get
Yeah,
conscripted.
yeah. Like every hour, like every day, I do an hour of just gore.
That's not a
Like
bad
just
idea.
battle combat.
Here's, you know what? Thinking about it, here's how we should prep.
Mm-hmm.
We gotta work some new war invention, like you were saying with the Molotov cocktail. We gotta come
Okay.
up with something now so we can bust
Okay.
it out when we're on the front and like do numbers, and everybody be like, "Holy fuck! When did
Holy
you think
fuck.
of that, bro?"
you get TikTok famous for creating like a IDE that is
Yeah.
very effective.
An IED, yeah,
IED, I mean, yeah.
DIE.
And EIE.
EIO.
Yeah.
All right, how about this?
That's
how
what
about
we call
this?
it, EIO. That's what the Benz EIOs, that's what they
How about
step
this?
into.
You're much more weapon inclined than me. I
I
don't know shit
guess,
about
yeah.
weapons, but you're always like, oh, dude, this gun is so cool. It's got like a auto loader and it's got like dual firing pins, and the trigger is like a .25
It's got a
feather
triple trigger in it. Yeah.
The stock is like, this is the kind of stock where it's like if
you put it in your mouth
you put it in
instead
your
of
mouth and it makes it really stable, and you can aim down the sights at the same time
Yeah.
while it's
Yeah.
stuck in your mouth by your teeth.
Yeah.
You hold
Yeah.
it's like one of those like mouth
Yeah.
grip things.
And the guy
You
who
just
like
bite down.
invented it was like he had like 3 different types of syphilis, and he,
Yeah, and he was so cool.
he was
Yeah,
so
you're more
cool.
inclined to be that kind of guy, so you're gonna need to
Yeah.
help me out. Here's
Yeah.
one idea, okay?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Put-
So I'm
put
telling
a-
you
okay.
if it's like viable. Is that what you're trying? Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Take the
okay.
gun,
Uh-huh.
put a bullet in the tip of the barrel. Then
Like a
shoot the
musket.
gun, and then you can fire like 2 bullets at once.
Oh,
And then if you
yeah.
like move your hand left or right
Yeah.
while you're doing it,
Yeah.
you like bang.
Bend
You
the
could
bullets.
hit like 2 guys. Yeah,
2 guys,
yeah, sort
yeah.
of.
Yeah.
How's that?
That's I don't know how far I want to go with this bit because you should never do that. And but if
Okay, well, let's say on the front.
and I
Okay,
don't,
first of all, don't do any of these because they're
things.
untested and they probably will hurt you. But
Yeah,
second
and
of all,
they're all
don't-
patented by Ben. On top of that,
Second
so
of all, don't do them because they're my ideas. I don't want you
Yes.
fucking coming and taking credit for them. So don't
Yeah.
do them because it's unsafe. But also don't do them because this is my shit.
Yeah,
Don't steal it.
it's my shit.
All right, second thing.
Mhm.
Sniper rifle, even bigger scope on it.
Oh yeah, it's like a really, really long scope, so you can
Uh-huh.
do really, really far shots.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Is that a good
Yeah,
idea?
yeah, like totally. Because like the thing is like when with those sniper duels that you see, like in like Saving Private Ryan and stuff like that. If he just had a bigger scope, the other guy wouldn't even fucking see him. Like,
No, that's what I'm thinking.
You just have like a guy, like aiding like your sniping. He has like the actual length of the scope, another length of the scope on his back, and then he gives it to you, when you're about to scope, and then you got like 10 times the distance, that you can cover with a shot. I do agree that.
What
with that,
about
yeah, that's a great idea.
what about iPhone with like an explosive inside of it?
Yeah,
Because you got to
you
think
leave 'em-
like Molotov cocktail. You're kind
Uh-huh.
of like using simple, easily to attain resources
Mhm.
in that day and age and combining them to create something effective.
Yeah.
There's a dearth of smartphones. Let's
Yeah.
use those, distract our enemy, maybe put it on the ground. It's playing
TikTok.
It's like TikTok
Yeah.
dance tutorials. Some
Yeah.
guy, either A, he finds it annoying, or B, he's like, let me get a closer look so I can learn this cool dance.
Yeah.
Picks it up. Beep, 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 beep. Done.
Yeah.
It's like a Molotov cocktail. We could call
Yeah.
it the old phone boom.
Mm-hmm.
The phone telesplosive.
I'm pretty sure booby traps are against the Geneva Convention, but
Why
yeah, we
didn't
could
they
do
just
that.
say in the Geneva Convention killing's illegal?
Yeah,
Why did they draw a line at like?
'cause it's like what
why
you
don't
don't
they just like?
realize,
Well,
Ben.
you know what? Let's just not kill anybody. Huh?
What you don't realize, Ben, is that like like I said, some people go out there and they're having like a lot of fun. There's like so
They're
much,
enjoying themselves,
there's just so much fun. So we're like make it like a little bit illegal, but like not fully.
Let's just make the shit that's not fun illegal, and then
Yeah,
all the stuff
exactly.
that's fun, everybody can have fun.
Yeah,
together.
exactly.
Is
Yeah.
a Molotov cocktail not also a booby trap? Because you're probably seeing like a nice bottle of alcohol flying towards you in the air, like, oh hell yeah,
You're
a
licking your
free,
lips.
a free
Yeah,
beer.
yeah.
You're trying to
Yeah.
catch it there. You don't see
And
the rag.
explodes and
Yeah.
covers you in the flammable material. Yeah, totally.
I would say
Yeah.
that's a booby trap.
Your lawyer that you sue the guy using it.
Mm.
Can you sue that? Like, can you do that? Can you sue
Can
the
you
other
sue-
person for like
to an enemy soldier you tried to
for
kill
doing
me?
for doing like like cruelty? Like it's not just combat;
Hey,
it's like cruelty on top of that.
me. You better not shoot at me, or I'm
Yeah.
gonna sue you.
Sue
I'm
you.
gonna sue you for damages.
Yeah, but they don't like that's the thing. Well, Americans, that's why they lost all these wars. Is that the Americans couldn't go like, "Oh, sue you," right? Sue you when they were in
Sue you.
Vietnam.
Don't shoot.
you
Don't
know?
fucking this
Don't
this
shoot.
fucking IED better not explode, or I'm gonna fucking sue your ass, Taliban.
Explodes and he goes like,
Yeah.
"Fuck!" He's just like, "I told you."
And then he
Now I have to
actually
get a
does
fucking
sue him,
lawyer.
and it settles. He gets like hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes, I'm rich. All I had to
Yeah.
do was lose my legs in Afghanistan. Woo.
yeah, exactly. But yeah,
And that's a
those
better
are-
system because instead people lost their legs in Afghanistan and then didn't get anything.
didn't get anything. No, they got purple hats. That's
They
what
got
they
purple hearts. They got to go home and
They got
be honoured for their brave
War
service
heroes,
of giving their legs so that people could still
Yeah,
question
and then,
mark.
and then like Rambo comes around, and he was in a cooler war than you.
He was
you
in a
know.
cooler war as
And
well.
then you're like, fuck, I should have lost my legs in that war.
I want to
instead.
say, I know I'm a big Vietnam fan because today I got the Bandle in one. Do you know what the song was?
the is it Creedwater
It was
Revival? Like
Creedence Clearwater Revival.
yeah,
Fortunate Son, baby. I
Fortunate
heard the
Son,
drums
yeah.
and I was like, I think that's Fortunate Son.
What would
Except it
your
wasn't
war
that bit.
song
It was
be?
it was a different bit of the song. I can't remember, but I still got it in one because I'm a huge
Nice.
Vietnam freak.
Vietnam Viet head. Have you got a war song that you would like
Well,
play?
when I get drafted into the
When you do, when you're
China
like
War,
the
World War III.
when you're like baby driving, where you're like getting in the mood, because they're gonna open
Yeah,
that
that's a good
fucking hatch,
question.
that door, and you gotta fucking sprint out there and hide behind a rock before it like a automated drone mows you down,
Probably probably a bit of a Huba stank, maybe.
Yeah.
Probably listen to like a Huba. Let me get the exact song.
Yeah.
Let me
Okay.
get the exact song. Kind of
I'm
a bit of
probably
yeah.
from my current listenings, I think Creed would probably be my Let me take you higher. And and there's just like a machine gun fire just sweeping across above my head,
I would
think
go
that-
for Huba Stank, Born to Lead.
Okay, that's a good one.
Brightly, lights grow brightly. I just said that like, fuck yes, we're gonna go, bro.
Let's go.
Let's kill people.
Do you mean how quickly do you think that door opens and you're like so hyped up? How quickly do you think that like hype turns into like fear?
It's
And
second
just
one as soon as you
instinct.
through the door. Second
Okay.
one. Second one, you're through the door. It's the same thing when people who survive suicide attempts say like, "Oh yeah, on the way down, basically everything clicked in my mind, and I knew exactly how to go forward in my life."
Okay,
that
yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think it's like that, where it's like, yeah, the second you're through the door and you're like, "Oh wait," I think it's basically an instantaneous.
My life, not a movie. That's what you
fuck.
realize.
They lied
my,
to me.
my
Those,
life,
those
not a
damn
movie.
recruitment heads lied to me. This shit ain't like a video game at all. Oh fuck.
I do like the fact that like army, like recruiters go after gamers. Honestly, I don't know.
That's why they're dude. This is they're sowing what they're reaping. They we got so much war video games pushed on us for the exact purpose of then later down the line
Yeah.
you can go. You guys have fun playing Call of Duty Warzone 3. Well, hey, you can do that shit in real life and get paid.
But the thing
And
is
then
that
they realize, fuck, this isn't paying off at all. Nobody, their numbers are dropping because they realize they can now do this safely from their own home with a video game.
Yeah. But the thing about it is that recently, there's actually, I noticed there's been like a little twist, Nobody plays those like team shooters anymore. Nobody plays like Call of Duty. Nobody, like the Call of Duty.
It's all
that
about
we
hero
played,
shooters.
With hero shooters, it's nobody plays like battlefields, when you coordinate,
Yeah.
Everybody plays those like extraction shooters, Apex Legends, and
Dark and
those
Darker.
like Dark and Dark,
Exactly,
Tarkov,
bro.
And the thing is that like it's tainting these gamers that should be developing these like team working skills,
They should be getting
And
used
they're
to dying in the battlefield, not escaping.
amongst their comrades, and here they're like, oh, you're supposed to go in, survive, and extract. No, bro. You're like, you need to. This isn't the messaging that we're trying to set up, for the next
you're not
generation
getting out.
of soldiers,
You're not supposed to be getting out. You're supposed to be dying valiantly.
Yeah. And then
Or at least
immortalized as
horribly
a.
maimed.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, they fucked up. They fucked up.
They tainted the next generation of recruits, by doing that. Although Helldivers is kind of bringing that back.
It's the Helldivers. Helldivers, I think, is the
Yeah.
perfect sweet spot because it's like somebody's extracting, but it might not be you.
It might not be, but the mission is done.
Yeah,
the mission
that's the
is
important
done, and that's the important bit. Is literally the messaging. Like, even if you don't extract, but you do the main objective, you win anyway. So it's like perfect.
And then you have these fucking sissy games like Dark and Darker coming out, where it's like, if I don't want to die in the dungeon as a wizard because I want to get out with my new purple crystal orb.
Mm-hmm.
It's like,
to ponder it, yes.
You can see the recruiters are crying in their office. They're seeing games like this.
Yeah,
they're like, my life's hard work is ruined because these guys stole a game from Nexon, and then and then now they're ruining all of everything we spent 20 years trying to build up. I find a lot of the British UK. I feel like the British armed forces ads I see a lot nowadays are less gamer related. There are still a couple gamer related ones, and more in line of like what I think the classic kind of recruitment tactic of working, of being like, we'll give you a life. Yeah.
I see you travel the world. I did see those sort of things. You will
That's
find
a classic. That's
friendships.
a classic.
You'll find that's a big one that they're using now.
You're a lost youth and you need direction.
Yeah.
Come and join the army.
And
it's like, here's the thing: you can either do that or boxing. Those are the two. If you're a lost youth, you have two options: join the army or box.
Or become a really good mechanic that then can fix like a spaceship or something,
You only become a really good. No, that's an
offshoot
offshoot of army.
Okay. Oh,
that's you have like branching paths.
Yeah.
The very first one, you've come out of like secondary school, or you're dropping out of secondary school or high school or whatever, with a basic qualification. You've got two routes: army, boxing.
Mm-hmm.
As a delinquent, you can do boxing or army, and then once you've done those, you splinter off. You could be like a personal trainer. There's some overlap. You could be a personal trainer. You could be a mechanic. You could be a chef. You could become more I feel like the boxing side leans more to like getting in touch with your feelings a bit more.
Yeah.
Becoming a bit more sensitive
because you're fighting yourself in the end. You're fighting yourself in the ring. Yeah.
But then the army is more about like, maybe you're becoming more philosophical because you're killing other people. You're kind of starting to realize,
like a BJ Blazkowicz, where
life,
he's like, I don't know what I'm doing anymore. I don't know what I'm fighting for.
I feel like we should make this. We should make a game called Boy RPG.
We have Metal Gear. How soldiers are. The next level. They ascend in a way,
Mm-hmm. Can you give me 1 second just to cut this out as well?
Because you're going to apply to the army now. I sold you on it.
I need a minute, and while I'm doing that, there's going to be a horrible noise of me blowing my nose.
Oh, that means you can't join the army because you got hay fever.
That's what I'm talking about, bro. That's why I'm saying, like, when we get conscripted,
the evil enemy is gonna blow pollen in your face, and you're gonna go, I'm
gonna be one of the last batch to ever go when the country's like hanging by a thread because I'm overweight, and I got hay fever, and I've got asthma on top of that. Hay fever aside, but everything else, I'm basically a superhuman, so who knows? Maybe they'll take me early. I don't know.
Yeah,
those are basically the only things that are wrong with me. Everything else, I'm basically absolutely perfect on.
Yeah, exactly. I'll stay. I'll probably they want to keep me here so I can repopulate the country. Because I'm such a perfect specimen of a.
I feel like that would be it. I feel like if they're recruiting you and you say that, like, you can't take me, I need to repopulate. I need to
they'll
be
put
the
me
one
in
that
jail.
bleeds at the end.
They'll put me in fucking jail. That's what they'll do. They'll send me. They'll launch me.
I don't think
with a
they'd know what to
catapult
do
the
with
front
you.
line. Yeah.
I don't think they'd know what to do with you. I think on the one hand they'd be like, "Why, if we can't put him back out there because he's clearly some kind of deviant." But then at the same time they're like, "But if we take him, he's evidently going to be the least useful person ever. He's clearly not well. But we can't put him out there because that just vindicates his own point of view." I feel like you're not going to be sent to prison or like go back into the populace. You're just going to be stuck in limbo for the entire war.
Where it's
So
like I'm the
this guy?
I'm the like was it Jarhead or whatever, where they're like trained but they never get to actually shoot anybody or like anybody. Like they have the last scene where it's like, please let us shoot this guy. You're gonna airstrike him, please. Can we just take out this one guy?
You're gonna be what's gonna happen is you're gonna be stuck in limbo, but then some shadowy guy in a suit's gonna approach you one evening in a street corner and be like, "You're gonna come with us, sir. We need you for a special program. Your test results came by us for the recruitment. And while the eggheads back in Washington don't know what to do with you,
we know
we've
what to do.
We've bookmarked you. We've put you aside for a special division. We're like a spy. We're going to airdrop you into enemy territory." And while all of their husbands are away,
Okay, yeah.
you're
That's
gonna
actually
seduce their wives.
Oh, okay. That
Destroy
makes
their
it
morale.
bad. Yeah, destroy. You gotta because you're such a irresistible specimen of
You're
a
such
male
a
variety.
sexual maniac.
Yeah. You
This is
outbreed
gonna be
them
your role. You're gonna save our country the only way.
consensually. That's what he puts up.
Consensually.
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 A special program. The S unit.
You're
for
like
sex.
consensually, I assume. Yes. Well, of course, consensually. This conversation would never happen if it weren't.
Yeah, the government would never do anything.
No. The point is
up.
that you're seducing them.
And S for sexual seducer. Sergeant, sexual seducer, triple S.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Not
my
not
rank.
two S's.
That's my rank in the army.
Yeah. A sergeant of sexual seduction. A special espionage corps. Unit 69. Hey-o.
Yeah.
Oh, bazinga.
So fucking
That's a good one.
dumb.
That's fun.
That's a good movie. That's like a Catch-22, but like weird. That's how we can kind of like frame it.
Give me Unit 69.
Yeah.
It's like that one movie about the guy that has to give up sex for Lent, but it's like a war-based sex romp. Unit 69.
Yeah, people would go to see it,
Dark shit, bro.
They would see it, They would see
it. That's the kind of movie they need to be making now to increase recruitment numbers.
To get the fucking, you get it's a double whammy, okay? You get your recruitment numbers up, okay? You save cinema.
You really
Because who wouldn't want to go see Unit 69 in the theater with your bros,
Who wouldn't? And then after that, 4 out of those 5 bros are signing up. That's what
at the end.
Like?
At the end of the movie, no, at the beginning, in the credits, it says sponsored by the United Kingdom Army or whatever.
No, you don't need to do that because none of the Marvel movies do that.
Yeah,
they slip it in the end credits. They put a little thing being like all locations and vehicles and props provided by U.S. Defense Force.
Yeah.
Provided by Pentagon Media Wing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jesus, too many good ideas. Well, you've got all these like
ideas today.
You got all these like war crime like
Ensigns 101.
weapons.
We're starting strong.
Yeah. 101. We should have made the entire podcast about how to make a podcast.
Yeah, with the experts.
Podcast 101,
We're the experts on it.
Yeah, exactly. We did 100 episodes. How can we not know how to do this by this point? What is it? What, 10,000 hours, right?
10,000 hours. We're 1% of the way there. Literally 1%.
But then it's like another hour of me editing the podcast.
Those
Then
don't
you make the
count.
thumbnails, you add up the hours,
Those
the time.
don't count, bro.
It's
Sorry.
watching of all the media we cover, technically.
That's
to that.
That's counting towards different skill sets.
Oh, okay. It's all the
Audio
different
production,
bars, all the different
marketing,
bars. Yeah,
media consumption. What we're doing right now is the hour that contributes to the podcasting skill.
I need to get my media consumption
fuck.
skill
My
up. I
media
need to grind
consumption
up
rate
my.
is so bad.
I just watch short films so I can finish more media. You know.
No. You need to watch long series.
Yeah, honestly, yeah, that's true. Yeah, because it's like
If
get
you
a
watch all of
multiplayer.
Star Trek, that's like 10% of your thing right there.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's the thing is that whenever you finish a piece of like an episode or a movie, you get a multiplayer. You know,
Yeah.
for finishing that.
And you get a multiplier by doing things simultaneously. So if you're playing a game while watching a TV show, and you have like a song or a podcast playing on the side, then that's like a 1.5 times multiplier.
You're grinding multiple skills
your
at once
consumption.
too. On top of that, you know.
Exactly.
I wish my life was like a video game where I could look at my statistics.
Bro,
Oh, that'd be so good.
Dude, I wish I could see my ability spread when I was
What would happen if
born.
you? Do you think people would like spiral down if they notice that they're like skilled for some reason? Like you know, you get worse sometimes if you don't like practice something. You know, you like don't do a certain skill, you don't do a certain thing. Do you think people would like get depressed when they notice like one skill just starts falling? You know,
I think that would be the ultimate. That'd be the
Reminder.
ultimate reminder, yeah. But also like the ultimate message of being like you can't win them all.
That's true.
You can't max out everything. Once
Yeah,
you start
I
trying to
see
max
what you
out
did
one
there.
thing, another
I
thing starts
see what you did
dropping.
there.
You
Called me
can't
out.
max it out, Max.
Yeah, but people do call me a jack of all trades but master of none. You know.
True. That just means you're shitty at everything, basically.
No, that's not the case.
Yeah, it does.
No.
Yeah, it is.
But it's like, you know, you gotta have that jack of all trades on your team, you know, because you can fill in for everybody, you know, it's different roles, help out everybody else, you know. Because like if you had, you know, you have a task, you get the best guy on it, you know.
Would you want to be a jack of all trades in the army?
Yes.
Is that your goal?
Yeah. So then
Okay.
I can get put in a sex unit or whatever.
Unit 69.
Unit 69, yeah. Because then
It's a good idea.
they'll see like this guy can handle anything, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll be a master of sex, though. Like I'll be a jack of all trades, but I'll have the masters in sex. on
What
top
if
of
your
that.
greatest mission in Unit 69 is having sex with like a guy? Like they're like, this is a special operation. This sergeant that we're trying to lower his morale, he's homosexual.
Lower his morale.
He's homosexual. You need to have sex with his husband.
Oh, okay, all right. Yeah, no. What's the difference? You know, that's why that.
Would you be like, I'll do it, but for my country?
Yeah, I'll do it.
I'll do it, but I'm not gonna like it.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't say I wouldn't like it. I would say I'll do it for my country. And then my office, it was like, you know, head officer would be like, thank you, son, you know, for your sacrifice. And I'll be like, yeah,
They give you a purple penis medal.
Yeah. It's swollen.
bravery.
I had so much sex. It's swollen in the war. My penis it was a casualty in the war in the war, you know. So I get the purple penis, you know, medal
I lost my penis fucking
penis.
for this country. And what do I get for it? A damn purple penis medal. You're like whipping it across the room in a wheelchair, because even though you can move in a wheelchair anyway.
Yeah, you just you know, yeah. It's nice to sit down sometimes.
That's true. It is. You remember that guy in Preacher? Did you ever read the comics for Preacher?
No, I watched the show.
I don't know if he comes up in the show, but there's a bit in Preacher where not the main lady, but her friend is like in a diner talking to this guy, and he ends up going on this long ass story about how he accidentally got chemically castrated because while he was visiting the police station about a robbery, they thought he was like this sex offender who was supposed to be chemically castrated, so they took him and then did it. And then the settlement for what happened to him, he bought this diner that they're in for the scene.
No, I don't think that.
And it's just this long ass tangent.
Well, you know,
dude, that comic is so good.
Yeah, that wasn't. I guess
They should have put
like
that shit in the TV show, bro.
Yeah, it had stuff in it, but I guess they just
Missed
they
out so
didn't have
much.
time. They didn't have.
Time. They had to kill off Stanley Tucci's character in the first season.
Yeah, exactly.
Which was crazy because the whole story that Jesse gets up to in that like small town is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
The meat packing facility and stuff.
Yeah, because they move on pretty quickly
facility.
From that first town.
It was such a weird. I remember being like, I'm gonna watch this first season, and it's like, damn, they're combining some shit from later on in the beginning. It takes ages for it to get going with like Jesse getting the power and like learning about it and stuff. It takes fucking so long, and then by the end of it, it's like they just blow up the entire town anyway, and it's like, why did you even bring that shit from later on to here?
Mm-hmm.
Could have just saved it for later, but then you find out, oh, it's because they were only gonna make like fucking 3 seasons of this stuff.
Yeah,
of course. But then they made The Boys,
okay,
and that was a runaway
hit. It
hit.
wasn't that bad. The show.
Well, the first season, I was like, it's okay, it's all right.
As like a separate thing from the comic, maybe compared to the comic, it's not that good. But
the comic's great.
As a show, it's all right.
The comic's great. It's Garth Ennis, so it's not that it's bad, but it's bad because, I mean, it's a Garth Ennis comic. You know, the kind of shit that's in a Garth Ennis comic.
Mm-hmm.
Jesse tells a guy to go fuck himself at one point. Or using the power of God, the word of God, or whatever, and the response is that the guy rips his penis off and puts it in his own butthole, and then he dies.
Yeah,
so you know what to expect from a Garth Ennis comic, but it's a good comic. It's a good comic, man. It's a good comic.
Yeah.
The Boys season 4 started. I haven't checked out
I've
the first
watched
episode.
I've watched the seasons. It's very. I don't care about all this stuff where people are like, this is woke or whatever.
I don't. We don't.
But it's very direct about this references. It references a lot of stuff that happened in the real world quite directly.
Oh, interesting.
And it's interesting, you know. It's like it's a show, you know. It's fun, I guess.
I like The Boys. I like it more than Invincible. Invincible doesn't really grab me.
Yeah, I didn't even watch Invincible, honestly.
Not that it's bad. It doesn't do it for me, I think. But I like The Boys.
But I watched Dinner in America, which is a fun movie.
It's like a new movie, isn't it? It's like a very recent indie film.
2021 or something
2021?
2021?
Dinner in America.
And 2020.
America. 2020. Okay. I mean, it's recent in the grand scheme of things, but it's not like a new movie.
In the recent in the, you know.
No, they're doing that stupid ass. Bro, I hate when the internet does this. Try and look up a movie, look it up. Oh yeah, this is the release date. It came out in 2020. Look a little further. Well, technically, it released in 2020 at Film Festival, but the movie actually came out in 2022.
Okay.
Fuck you! It didn't come out in 2020.
Yeah, it was 2022.
2022.
Yeah, so it's 2020. It's still 2 years, you know.
Yeah.
Not that recent, but it's a good movie. I recommend it. I kind of like the comedy is good, and
he loves the comedy, folks.
I love the comedy. There is it tackles a lot of some topics that people get kind of uncomfortable about when it comes to neurodivergence and kind of people
I know
with
exactly what you mean.
disabilities and relationships and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
It tackles
which is,
stuff like who pays at the end of dinner.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you go item by item, or do you just split it clean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I used to be
exactly.
an item by item kind of guy, but I realized that was a broke mentality because now
Yeah.
I'm like, I just split it.
Yeah,
People
like
are like, oh, I ordered this other
Yeah.
stuff though, and you only had that. I'm like, don't worry.
Yeah, because it
Split it.
happened because you stopped doing it because of the incident with the Domino's pizza. What you had with Stu, you know,
Yeah, I have to
the
go
one
into
with
it.
the two
I
two
remember
pizzas
what it
for
was. I remember
one.
what it was. I wasn't going to get a pizza. Okay, I was
Okay.
like, nah, I can't afford it. I don't really want a pizza. He's like,
Mhm.
I'm getting one, and they have a deal where you can get an extra one for only £1. So in my mind, I'm thinking he's gonna order a full pizza anyway, and he's gonna get an extra one for £1. I'll pay the £1 and have the extra pizza. But in his mind, he's thinking we'll split it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think personally, now that when I remembered what the full story was in my mind, I was like, no, you know what? I was kind of onto something back then.
Honestly, and you're already in the wrong here because the entire failure of this scenario is the failure to communicate.
It is.
There you go.
That's true.
And that's
and I would like to point out that I did relinquish I wasn't adamant on it.
Mm-hmm.
I was maybe like 10 minutes being like, that's not what I thought was going on. But eventually I was like, all right, I'm not gonna, you're my friend, I'm not gonna stiff you on this. So I paid for half of the total.
Yeah.
Even though the pizza that I only kind of wanted in the first place was advertised as only being £1.
£1, yeah.
Okay, so I think, looking back, I'm like, you know what? Actually, I wasn't crazy at all. I was actually really not that far off of like a reasonable response to the situation.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I can understand that that's maybe some people don't want to hear that. Maybe some people don't want to accept that.
Sorry, not sorry. That's what Ben says.
Or maybe I'm saying a bit of a sorry, not sorry.
that's his little theme. That he
But
says.
nowadays, not so. Now I'm just like, just split it. It's fine. I don't care.
Okay.
I have money. But then there are people who still have money and they're still like, now we gotta go item by item here.
Because what you
order
don't
this?
realize
Or
is
you ordered
those
this?
people are like, are you friends with me because you want my money? So I'm going to nickel and dime you for everything that we bought, even if it's like £1 or like 50 pence or something like that.
Exactly.
Because I'm just making sure you're a good friend. So I'm going to ask you to pay me back 50 cents.
Exactly.
Exactly.
I'm gonna chase you for this.
Yeah, I'm gonna send my lawyer.
I'm gonna send Unit 69 after you.
Because my dad works in the government and he's got ins to that unit,
I feel like Unit 69 isn't really a good podcast title, but there's definitely description material,
Yeah.
Definitely description material. I'll remember that one. I'll log that one in my mind. Unit 69. Maybe a podcast title could be like Ben's Cool War Ideas.
Yeah, Ben's Cool War. Because we've been talking about war quite a bit in this episode. Yeah,
I was worried about this one.
Such a huge.
I didn't even talk about my crazy weekend. I
Maybe
did
we
so much
should-
crazy things on.
Yeah, because your crazy weekend triggered a war flashback.
It did. It
you know?
stressed me out.
For
I
a
felt
war-
like I was in war.
For a war that you never took part in, it's like it's like a collective experience that we have. We have collective trauma of like Iraq, Iran.
I think back and I'm like, I
So
was camping and I got my foot stuck in like one of those little traps. The traps where it's just like those rudimentary bear traps that they had in Viet Cong and stuff.
Yeah.
I was imagining myself doing that out in the fields of Somerset.
Yeah.
And then it's like, that didn't happen. It's just, it was such a stressful time for me that my brain tapped into that in the collective unconscious and used it as its own memories to describe the pain I was feeling.
Yeah, so
I remember when I fell in that pit filled with poop-covered spikes.
Yeah.
And then I was like,
That's
wait, no, that didn't happen because I didn't die.
That's why that's why whenever we go out, we all, like all of the entire friend group, we always ask for veteran discounts, whenever we go
We've just
anywhere.
been through so much.
Because although we have never served in any war,
Yeah.
our consumption of the collective,
man.
conscience has caused us to develop,
It's like I have these horrible sensations because Gabs invites you to do something that I could also easily go to, but he just doesn't ask me. For some reason, he just doesn't think about me.
Yeah.
Which is awesome, even though I only live like an hour away.
Yeah, well,
But I guess fuck me.
Back in the
I'll
day,
go kill myself.
because Gabs recently got really into like medieval things, so he
loves
thinks
medieval
like
shit,
that
bro.
distance in like a horse riding,
He's like,
So,
he's
or,
gonna
like,
have
walking.
he's going to travel a half day's ride.
He's
to get
gonna
here.
have to travel a half.
I don't
want to
have to trouble
on
him
a horse.
for a
Yeah.
I don't want to have to trouble him for a 70-mile horse gallop for this.
Yeah,
event.
and also
He forgot about
I don't
trains.
have a stable where I can
Yeah.
house his horse for stables.
He's
horse
gonna have
for
to
the time we
stable
have
his horse in the local inn,
in,
and
yes.
those charges are highwayman's charges. It's highway robbery, as they
Yeah,
say.
exactly. And what? I could just I can't. Fuck, it's so stupid. Yeah.
Yeah, but I guess I'm not coming because
Yeah.
Gabs' medieval mindset. His medieval mindset.
I only have one roast.
Good title for a
That has
podcast,
to-
maybe. Medieval mindset.
Medieval mindset is a good one. Yeah.
A new.
I
like,
only have
history
one
podcast.
turkey leg, and that one is for me.
I've only got but half a roast beast left. It's not enough for 3 of us. 2 at
Yeah.
most.
Yeah, and this has to last me until next winter.
Oh, my stocks of carrot, potatoes, and onions are running awful low. I barely
Yeah.
even have enough grain.
In my grain, the rats got into my grain.
My grain is near empty. I couldn't
Yeah.
possibly host guests.
Yeah. My 20 children are also stabled in the house. There is no space left.
my
you know?
children are stabled.
Yeah, and I have the harvest is coming up.
Harvest is coming, and I can only host one friend, I'll have to choose the one that only lives a few hours horse ride away. Why, he could probably get a wagon into town.
Yeah.
Or rather, he wouldn't even need a wagon. Ben would have to bring a wagon with supplies in order to
Yeah,
make this
to make the
outing.
journey, to make
the journey so that he wouldn't be besieged by wolves along the way.
So stupid. Yeah. Well,
thanks for listening to that, Ensigns. We love our friends. That's why we split evenly here.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you ordered like an expensive drink or an extra side, or maybe even if you got a dessert and I didn't, we're fine. We're splitting it because at the end of the day, I came out for the company, not the food.
Yeah,
and that's the Dead Ensigns experience.
You all wish to have such good friends as we have,
Yeah, exactly. We're so lucky.
We're so lucky.
And that's why you listen, because we're the closest you can come.
No,
don't
say that. Don't say
friends.
that.
To true friendship.
No,
Let me just tell you, if you ever come to dinner with me and you order a bunch of expensive shit, there's a limit. You know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, there's a limit. I think if somebody comes along and they order like the 3 most expensive things on the menu, I'm maybe gonna be like, maybe I'll pay for a third. Maybe I'll pay for like a third of it. I don't think we can split it unless I'm getting a taste of that. Unless we're eating family style. Okay.
Yeah.
If I'm getting some stuff off of your plate as well.
You buy like a shared thing, you know? It's like a big plate to share. But they eat more of it because they're just like a quicker eater than you.
I'm not getting down to that. I'm not getting that granular with it.
But it's like
That's too
ridiculous.
much.
Like ridiculous difference.
Like what? Like I'm
it's
like in the time that I've cut off a single breast of a chicken, they've eaten like the whole thing.
Yeah. Like they have like a, you know, they ate 70%, let's say that, of the food that you had.
I feel like that's skill difference on my part.
Okay.
I feel like, you know what, mate? Hey, maybe they could learn to eat a little slower, but at the same time, maybe I could learn to eat. Who's to say? Maybe I could learn to eat faster.
Yeah, I need to do those exercises that competitive eaters do, where they drink water to stretch out their stomachs.
You gotta dip it in water and then eat it so it slides down. You gotta keep it. That's the thing people don't realize. You gotta keep the shit lubricated.
Yeah.
Bit of water.
What would you say if that person then said you ate less than them, but then they accuse you of eating more than them?
Well, at this point, I'm beginning to question why I'm even here in the why I'm even here with this person in the first place. Am I on like a blind date or something?
No, because
like
this
Bumble
person
date gone wrong?
is the son of your boss.
Why am I on a dinner date with the son of my boss?
Because he asked you.
I would have to accept that if this is how it is. I would accept if this is how it is, then after tonight, I'm never going out with this guy again. From now on, this is getting the, I'd love to go out again, but I'm really busy at the moment.
But you know you're going to lose your job if you do that.
What? For having reasonable excuses?
Okay. Well, it's just reasonable excuses.
Why am I? Here's the thing. These sorts of
this
is why hypotheticals usually come with a caveat of like, "Oh, you can't kill yourself." Because in this situation, I'm sort of just weighing it and like, why am I at this job? Why am I at a job where I'm like?
Would you say that would be a big enough of a thing to, you know?
If my job was on the line because I'm not going with the fucking the voracious snarfer to dinner. If my job's on the line because of that, I'm looking in the want ads.
But it's like your dream.
No, it's not my. Evidently, it's not my dream job. My dream job definitely doesn't include you have to take my son to dinner regularly, even if he eats like a horse and you don't. Even if he eats like the horse eating the chick in that video. He's like taking a bite out of the waiter because his hand is getting too close.
Yeah, he's a opportunist omnivore, you know.
Exactly. That's not a dream job at that point. You've ruined it. There's no such thing as a dream job where that is also a part of it.
He's literally a horse. Your boss is like, this is my son, and
this is my son. It's like it's like a horrible horse too.
Yeah,
it's like trying to take bites out of people as they walk by. It's like an absolutely horrid horse.
A menace, yeah.
Well, if you want to learn more about the horrid horse, go over to Ensigns at twitter.com. And if you have an answer or a question about the horrid horse, you can send us an email at deadensigns@gmail.com. You can go to YouTube, listen to the podcast there, and leave a comment. If you want to learn more about the horrid horse, you can leave a comment there. But outside of that, you can subscribe, like, and review the podcast on YouTube, Spotify, Amazon, iTunes, and others. Until then, farewell. Till next time. Goodbye.
Bye.
It's shorted out, sir. We're gonna have to phaser it.
Then what are you waiting for?
Right away, sir.
Faster would be better, Ensign.
I can't, sir. We don't want to...
That's enough.
But, sir...
Stand aside, Carlton. I'm going through. You're alive. Good.